Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and go through my first impressions of the World Cup layout for 2019. Interesting is the least that I could say about this. You guys know the drill, though. What I'll do is go through kind of what is it that I think might be good. Of course, a lot of this can change when you actually get out onto the field, so take all this with a grain of salt. So let's go through. What I'll do is go through the back line, and then I'll go to the tapes, the center, and then we'll end off with some possible bounce shots. So let me turn this here. Okay, so first things first is the lanes off the brakes. So from this back center, it does seem like you do have some quick shots, being able to shoot these guys going out here. So if you are running out to these spots, you really want to be mindful of that center guy because he does have some shots in these gaps here going out into those bunkers. You do have some deeper shots into the snake corner and then over the top if someone was trying to go deep into the snake, which I know there really isn't a snake, but if they were coming around going into these little cakes here, you should be able to drop it over the top of this giant brick here and drop that in. On the Dorito side, there isn't a whole lot that you can do. If you can shoot this guy running deep here, then that's going to be good. But this kind of threading the needle shot, you are going to have to take a step off to the side here and shoot that to shoot this guy going in. This one, if you shoot over the top of these pins, I think it should be able to drop pretty well into that cake there. The tall cake. And then for this one, as you shoot, if they're trying to go super deep into this Dorito, finding routes to get out that are safe, I think is going to be the tough thing on this layout. The good thing is that there's a lot of places that you can go to, so you should be able to hopefully trick the other team. So let's say you actually get into those bunkers. So we'll start off with the this Aztec here. Remember, the T just means it's the smaller Aztec or the smaller tower. I'm sorry, temple. I'll get it right. So you do have some inside shots which are nice, like over the top of this brick, dropping in. Now remember, like I've said before, they can do the same shot back to you. So remember that they have that same shot back. I really feel like this whole field is going to have to be playing super tight so you don't get those weird blind shots that are coming in. As you look more across the field, you have some more shots. Now, I don't think it's going to be good to stay here and just dump paint that far across the field, but if you have a code that this guy is moving, or maybe this guy is trying to come around here and go into your side of the snake, at least this shot is there. So having these super far shots to try to shut down a side is going to be difficult. Not that it's impossible, it's just that it's such a far, like if they put you in and then go, by the time you snap back out, you have this huge gap that hasn't been shot, and now they're going to have time to move up into wherever it is they're trying to go. This cake here is kind of useless because the tape shots really aren't there. Like, yeah, I guess you could shoot over the top of this, but that little Dorito isn't really going to be doing a whole lot. There are some good inside shots, but again, having that inside shot there once we get further up into the center of the field and really further up the field in general, I think there's some better ways that you can stop that instead of having someone just sit back here and shoot paint into this gap or whatever. I think you should be able to drop it in. Now again, remember, that guy, that can, has the same shot back at you. And the cakes can be a little bit tough to play sometimes. The good thing is that I think you should be able to dive out, but you just got to be mindful. I mean, you can see how many shots there are on this field. Check off everything and then dive super hard into wherever it is that you're going next. If you kind of lollygag and go kind of slowly into a bunker, you're probably going to get shot. That's just the feeling I'm getting on this field right now. Going out to this can, this one's pretty solid as well. I think having someone shoot this cross to maybe shoot this guy going out wide. You do have some shots here. So again, I think there are some better areas that you can shoot these gaps on the Dorito side in this case, but I mean, it's there. You do have some blind shots over the top here, so it wouldn't be bad necessarily to throw those over there. Over the top of this brick, I mean. So you can drop it into that snake corner, into this little W, and even shooting on the outside of that W if they're trying to fill up to here. And then you do have this shot going out to the outside of this this big wing here. And of course you have that straight up shot to your mirror as well as to this other Aztec. This one. All right, And next, let's go further up the snake side here. So there is a lot going on, if you couldn't tell. I don't think it's going to be super necessary to stay here. I would use this as kind of a delay to get in if I was going to be playing this, because you do have a lot better shots and it's a bigger bunker, so it's so much easier to play from a larger bunker than having to stay super crunched down in these small cakes. So you do have some crossfield shots, but again, if you get, this is something Ryan Greenspan was even yelling at us for, it's easier to shoot him when you shoot him in the back. Like, if you can get behind him, it makes it so much easier. So I wouldn't really stay here, to be honest. And you have these snake beams that you can actually use to crawl up and down and actually move back and forth and get lost in here, which I think is going to be a key to this center, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So going back to this snake, so this snake one here, you don't really have any shots on the inside, but once you play this outside, you want to be mindful of if they come up to your mirror, but once you wrap, you do have a lot of good shots that you might be able to pick off some packs, coming over here and wrapping, kind of edging that right there, shooting the edge of the that brick. You might be able to clip someone in the pack there, even into this Aztec here. But the better shots are going to be from their side of the field. You can see how much more orange there is. If someone gets up into this isn't really a 50, but their wing on that Dorito side, remember, they can do the same thing back to you, but you do have that shot. So if someone's there and you kind of like hopped over and crawled and they came up and then shot across, you're going to be able to clip that guy without him even realizing that you had gotten there. And then if you play this wrap, you have a lot of shots that you can come around and just wrap and start going to work and shoot on the inside as well. From this brick, again, I would use more as an option. I think I would probably try to play this more, and we'll see how the field actually plays this weekend. But you do have some of those inside shots, which now that you're further up the field, it's not as bad to shoot that inside. But I think if you're this front guy, you got to get here. I think that's the place to get to. And then it's going to be tough to get into that and play it, but there are so many good shots from here that I think you should be fine. You can stand up over the top as well of this brick here. You do have some of those shots there. You can tell there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Actually, one of the guys on the team already said that his head hurts because of just everything that's going on. I already sent over a picture to our group chat. But yeah, so the snake corner, getting here, I think if you can switch it up of where you're going, I think that'll help with getting there. You just have to be mindful because there are some gaps that they can shoot to lane you. But from here, it's not necessarily the worst spot. You can actually use it as a delay to get up. I wouldn't use this as a way to protect anyone up here because you see how this line here is on the outside of the bunker. So if I'm shooting down the tape, I'm just doing a blind shot there. If they came on the outside and crawled up, they could even crawl up to here and I wouldn't know until they wrapped and started shooting at me. So I wouldn't use this as a bunker to protect anyone up into this snake area here. But you do have some okay shots. You can drop some paint in, maybe do a blind shot over into that Dorito. Same thing over into this mini Dorito, and then going up into the center. I'm sorry, the 50 side of the Dorito there. From this Aztec, I honestly think that this is just going to be a very in-your-face field. You just have to go try to kill 2 or 3 bodies, and then if you trade off with someone, that's fine. You already did your job. That's just, again, the vibe that I'm getting so far. From this Aztec here, you are able to shoot this I think you should be able to shoot this at least. Let me rephrase that. The only downside is that if they go further out, I don't think you're going to be able to see them if they stay low. But you might be able to shoot that there and get lucky. You can shoot up over the top, shoot back at them. At their corner, and then also you have your mirror shot. And then over the top, again, you have this blind shot. And again, remember, they have that same shot coming back to you. So you want to be mindful of that. But this is something that you might be able to, catch someone off guard. This one especially, shooting them over the top. And it's a long shot, but with that cake, you might be able to catch them, their pack hanging out a little bit. But if they're playing this outside, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to shoot them. All right, so the Dorito side is just as busy. I'm not sure how effective these 2 Doritos are going to be. I think it's going to be better I'll get into it more, but it's going to be better to get up into here, kind of like the snake side. You want to get into their side of the field. So for this first one, you do have some shots. So maybe there's someone that's really trying to book it across, and you can dive in and pull your gun up and shoot that cross shot. You should be able to get here before they get here. So they have to run super far. If you ran up and then across, or even coming around and going up, it's a little bit closer so that you have a chance of being able to dive in and shoot that cross to catch that guy trying to come around that way, or pulling up and shooting there. Hopefully if they delayed, then you can shoot this guy coming across like that. The inside shot there, you can kind of shoot that gap. I know that's off a little bit. You can shoot that inside gap, so if they try to fill out, that's just something to be mindful of. It'd probably be better to play this outside wrap and shoot over like that, just so that way you have more bunker in front of you instead of shooting on the inside, because then if someone's on the snake side, they have a lot more to shoot at. This little mini Dorito, I don't think it's really going to be good to shoot down the tape. Kind of like this snake corner, this side, like these two bunkers here, I wouldn't use as a way to protect the person in front of me. It's going to be them having to wrap and kind of protect their own tape and then take the shots that they can. But you do have some inside shots as well. This you could probably use as like a little delay. That way you can shoot at these guys, and then once you get the opening, maybe someone behind you or in the center of the field can tell you that, okay, there's no one over here or whatever. You can check it off and then dive. It's not a big gap there, so I think you should be able to get there. And then you have a lot bigger of bunkers here. So of course, you always want to be mindful of those gaps. Always double check the center. That's something that I think this center, a lot of, actually really this whole field is going to be whoever can get creative, but especially this center, I think there's going to be some interesting stuff there. But you don't want to try to go and then there's someone that's just waiting on that gap and they see you go and you shoot them, or I'm sorry, they shoot you. Of course you want to shoot them. Here you do have a little bit of a shot inside to shoot at someone trying to come up this way, and then those inside shots. But again, it's probably going to be better for you to play the wrap. Let me move this down a little bit more. Play the wrap, so that way you can make it to their side. And then I know it's a little bit harder to see, but these black lines, the black ink, that is the better shots that you have. So one, if someone is here, you could probably catch them off guard, because if you stay low and come up and crawl, they won't be able to see you come up. So you can pop out, shoot that guy, and then start wrapping and trying to take out these other players that are here. Same thing with these guys. Maybe they're playing a little bit looser because maybe they're just trying to shoot a gap. You might be able to clip a pack or two in that case. But so that's that Dorito side. I'm actually surprised that we're going a little bit quicker through this than before. So let's go into the center. So the center, and these two, I'm just going off just these two towers. These are the tall towers. It might actually be bad to have two people in here. Reason being is that, again, now that you're closer, you can shoot these gaps a lot easier. You can still shoot, actually I didn't even put it in there, but this gap, let's see. The pin blocks it a little bit. That might be possible. But you can still shoot that guy trying to get up into there. You have some blind shots over the top that you can drop into people. And then if need be, you can wrap and, look to the outside and look for this guy trying to make the move maybe here, or this Dorito player trying to move over. And because of these pins here, if you just kind of take a knee and then wait, you should be able to clip that player coming in. And even if somehow, you turn and you miss that shot, you're still there for that next move if they're trying to get over to your side. So you can just kind of be patient, or we can talk about some other stuff that you might be able to do also as we get over more into the center. The snake side tower, though, so you still have those inside shots, so you can shoot the Dorito side. Those are good. But I think what's going to be helpful here is that if someone is trying to come here and crawl over, and then they try to crawl across, I think you should be able to either wait for them to try to pop their head up, or if their pack shows a little bit, you can shoot that pack, and that way they won't be able to get to your side of the field, because we saw already that once they are on your side, it's super deadly. So that's a really good spot to be in. So for my snake players, if you're on this side of the field, get to their wing. I think that's going to be where a lot of the kills come from, and then make sure that you have someone behind you that can, even if it's this guy or this guy, can shoot this way to make sure that no one runs through on the center to bunker you, or on the outside. Actually, it would be on the center, because you should be playing the wrap. So for my center players, Not that I'm ignoring my Dorito players, because I play Dorito as well. But yeah, for the center, it's really going to be getting creative, because I think even in this next one, yeah, so this next one, sorry, I'm trying to throw all the papers off to the side. There's a lot that you can do even when you get to their side of the field, and I think this actually is going to be something that's viable because of this snake beam. So from this center brick, I mean, even if you were at one of these towers and crawled up, got to the center brick, you're going to be able to look across. There's some over the top shots. Again, you can see these gaps. There's still some other gaps that you can see here. Or also, you could actually hop over and crawl up. As long as there isn't anyone over here trying to play the wrap, you could actually crawl up here and then shoot across, and then that way you can actually shoot some guys on the Dorito side, which opens up your D side. Or if you go to this tower, you might be able to clip some players over here, and then that frees up your snake side to do a little bit more as well. The good thing is that because these beams are here, you should be able to shoot and then crawl back if you wanted to. So if you wanted to crawl back to make it seem like you're still there, and then they try to come bunker you, and then you can shoot them before they get to you, that's just a possibility. So this center, I mean, it's an interesting one, that's to say the least, but coming across and using these beams, and then these towers are so big that you should be able to shoot down on people as well, which will help out with getting those kills for guys that are trying to maybe be sneaky on this side, or if they do come across here and you look inside and see that guy, you might be able to just to commit and come around, shoot him, and then take his bunker. Same thing on this side. You just got to be mindful, of course, every single time you want to be mindful of who might be posted that way. But if you know that someone might try to crawl up, you can switch your gun over and start shooting down and maybe clip that person in the pack because you're so close. So that's just a possibility. But really I mean, I guess you could even do the same thing on this snake side. I mean, crawling back and forth, where that way they lose you, and if they try to come bunker you, they don't know where you're at, so they might not commit because they don't know exactly where you're at, and you might be able to get a couple extra kills before they trade with you, but you did your job as a front player. With the Dorito side, it's a little bit more difficult because you don't have something you can crawl back and forth with, but I think playing these two here is going to be good because there's nothing on the tape that can see you. It would just be some people having to look this way to make sure that you aren't making that move, but you can take advantage of the times if they turn away, and I think this guy's going to be an issue now that I look at it. Because if that guy is tucked in just waiting, or these center guys are tucked in waiting for that, you really want to make sure that you're checking those guys off and then making that move. All right, and let's get into bounce shots. Okay, so with the bounce shots, these are just ones that I thought might be possible. They might work, they might not work. I'm sure that there's other ones that we'll figure out as we go ahead and actually play. So this little W, this little brick here, I think you should be able to shoot off this pin and it bounce into the guy that might be sitting inside there. So even if they beat you to the center and you have a player here, you should be able to bounce it off there into that. And I don't think that he has a good shot on you. No, because this tower is blocking it. So even if he tried to shoot across, you would actually have to back up to shoot back at you. But then if that happens, okay, great. Then you can move over here and then wait for him there. And, if they try to pop up or whatever. But I think that should work. And then on the other side, from this Dorito, I think you should be able to shoot this pin and it bounce in. Now this one, I'm not 100% on, well, all of them I'm not 100% on, but shooting this inside here, because it is behind the person, it might bounce behind them, and that's not ideal. But I'm wondering if there's an angle that you can get that kind of bounces back in a little bit, so that way they're not safe in that center. So just be mindful of that. If you play in the center, you start hearing these pins get, destroyed, it might be good just to kind of lay down and, back up into a different part of the beam, or, maybe try to, move over or something. There's a lot of options of what you can do in here, but just be mindful of those. But those are definitely going to be some that we would try out. From this Aztec, if there's someone in this 50 brick here, I think you should be able to shoot there and it'll bounce in. The only downside with that is that if they're here, they're safe. So if this does work, they have to be posted right there. If they're posted further back, then this is going to be bouncing next to them. It's not actually going to be bouncing into that player that might be waiting for an inside move or, trying to kill time or something like that. So just be mindful of that if you know that someone's here, and you try to shoot the bounce and they, don't go out, it might be that they just backed up a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so from this other Dorito, I know I said this one isn't super great, but there is this shot I think should be possible just by the way that the cake is set up here, that you should be able to shoot this and it'll bounce into this other Aztec. And if that's possible, then this might be a good bunker to go to. And then that way you can kind of kill the eyes and ears behind someone and free it up for whether it be yourself diving over and going across, or if you have kind of a two-player attack on the Dorito side, that they can move up there. But again, these might work, they might not work, but I think that might be a possibility. Another one is off the Aztec into the home. I don't know if staying in the home is going to be the best thing to do, because you can get trapped. Like, I feel like it should be you delay, shoot, and then break out somewhere, whether it be going up the center, going across. It's just so much space in here that once they get further up the field, it's going to be really hard to break out either way, because they can just kind of roll off from what we talked about before. So they can, even if you put them in, let's say, they can kind of just roll off and shoot. If you were trying to go here, like, they get put in, they just kind of roll off and shoot that gap there, and you're going to get shot trying to fill out. So I don't know if I would stay here. Again, who knows? We actually get out to the field and you want to stay here and shoot 17 pods. I don't know. That could be a total possibility. From this center here, it's going to be risky because you have to wrap. I think you might be able to shoot and bounce it off this Aztec into that little W. I think that should be possible. You can't do it this way because you'd have to be shooting up over this brick, but I think if you wrap and shoot, it should go in. And then from this brick, I think you might be able to shoot off this can into the snake corner. So that's just some possibilities. But tell me what you guys think. I know my first reaction was, what the heck are they doing? But I like this kind of stuff. I do like them at the NXL trying to do some different things. I mean, it's good to have variety, and it's good to have just a bunch of random stuff on the field. But how do you think it's going to play? So go ahead and tell me in the comments down below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and also stay tuned because I will be going out this weekend with my GoPro. So I'll do my self-playing critique and also just kind of first impressions of actually playing on the field like I usually do. So if you're new to the channel, I do that for every layout. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. And thank you everyone for all the support. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. But as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.